In the hospital, Ines found out that she was infected with AIDS, but fortunately her baby boy was not.
The poor girl was so frail and could not even talk. We went to visit her many times. We tried to get her out of there. We tried to change her mood or at least help her. I am a simple super at an apartment building, so I am of few means and did not have much money to help her. So I tried to help her through the people I knew. I tried to find her a job. Her sister would take her out. The battles and the things she had witnessed had taken a huge toll on her. We would feel that she was like a small child in need of help, a child whose hands you had to take to walk, and you had to help for even the smallest tasks and raising her kid.
I helped her settle down in a small house with her child, a house within her means. Every once in a while we would get out of the house and chat. She was slightly getting better and she would now talk a little. Today, I felt that Ines is a human being again and that she's capable of talking and conversing with others one more time. She can now stand on her own feet. Thanks to God, she is back to life.
Yusra helped me find a house to live in.
After her discharge from the hospital, she stayed with us for a while until we managed to get her a house and a job to look after herself. We would leave every morning together and would come back in the evening together. I could not leave her on her own. She was really scared.
Yusra's family helped me find a job.
A
lonely mother with a sick child to look after. A sick child who doesn't even have birth certificate. I work as a housekeeper in-house. When I look at myself, I wonder where I was and where I am now. A university student who was waiting for a bright future back then, and now a lonely mother of a sick child who has to work in people's houses. No family, no support. It's not only my problem. The problem exists in the world around me.
We said before that what has come to be known as the so-called jihad marriage is religiously and legally forbidden and unlawful. It is so wrong for a woman to have intercourse with 10 men in 4 months, and it is in fact fornication and forbidden. Oh, God forbid. The government was really disorganized at that time. Therefore, we witnessed that some members of the parliament, who happened to be of the ruling party, used to encourage people to go and fight in Syria. The head of the ruling party, enjoying the support of different parties and committees, supported the sending of our people there. And when there were public announcements for people to join the so-called jihad in Syria, these leaders actually oversaw such calls. Worst of all was the fact that the Minister of Religious Affairs, Nur el-Din Khademi, used to emphasize on the so-called jihad against Syria and encourage people for it. But after the recent developments and the disclosure of the facts, they realized that they were involved in an idiotic political game and gradually retreated from their positions. At first, we were few and weak, and we would get threatened whenever we raised our voices. I was provided protection and bodyguards by the Interior Ministry. But now they see that the frail voice of me that tried to steer them away from these crowds at the onset of the revolution is now a very loud and vociferous voice.
Some Muslims fail to differentiate between Takfiri's unorthodox interpretation of Islam, which is a world away from true Islamic teachings that preach love and mercy. They are most likely to find themselves in a merciless trap, just like those Tunisian girls did.
She began to think of us as godless people. Us, her sister and brother and parents and family, got close to people whom she thought to be closer to God. They had brainwashed her with these ideas. Gradually, we could see that we no longer knew our girl and she didn't know us in return. Thus, she left us and went away.
I want to tell those who have inflicted this misery upon my sister, Ines, and girls like her, that this is not jihad and this is not Islam, that you are destroying lands and their people.
We have always said, and will say again, and as you can see, many of the religious leaders who used to support the war on Syria have now retracted their words. The war and the massacre in Syria comes with a hefty price tag, since it is nothing but a war and fighting that would make us forget the most important issue, which is the matter of Palestine's occupation. Now they see that we were right to try to prevent people from joining the so-called jihad in Syria. As you can see now, those who claim to be the flag bearers of this so-called jihad, that is ISIL, Al-Nusra Front, and the likes, are now killing and beheading one another. Of course, because these are people who have no correct understanding of religion, knowledge, and sciences. They have no righteous faith to be the man of jihad for God. Killing and massacring in Islamic lands is never jihad for God.
Today I have become a tolerant and patient person, and I thank God for the patience that He has bestowed upon His servants. Having faith in God would keep you from forgetting and forgoing everything and all that there is. I would say now that I have no hatred of anything. I don't hate the niqab or the religion, God forbid. Never. I might hold hatred towards some people, but definitely not towards God and His servants. I only hate the people and the situations that inflicted such a pain upon me and forced me and my child to be in such a misery. If it had not been for the grace of God and that pious servant of His, I might have never left that awful place and have not returned to my country and would have had an unknown future. Anyhow, I wish they could know the God I know and had real faith in Him, so that then they would possibly refrain from doing such horror to me and people like me.